What's up, guys? So I'm going to do an update on Nvda and SMCI. I traded both of them today, and we did get follow through on both tickers. So as you can see here, we broke the low Friday initially, but it's nothing crazy. It wasn't a big move. So with Nvda, I actually took a very small loss. It's like negligible. It wasn't even close to a fraction of a percent, pretty much. Um, but this 2 minute candle, the way I was looking at it going into the open is seeing if we got a rejection up here. I was hoping to get up to here and then short it. And if not over here, because we had a little bit of trade history, this is going to be resistance now. So I was trying to find where would be a decent entry against the highs. And we pushed up initially, and then I'm watching that, and I saw the wick come in. So then I entered somewhere in here, and it starts pushing down, and got down to here, and I was about up 20% on my contracts for April. But they weren't as liquid, and I was trying to let it get hourly oversold, if not fill this weekly gap that's down below. But they just V-shaped it pretty hard, and then I was hesitant to hold it at that point, so I just cut it, and it was pretty much a break-even trade, to be honest. Um, the other trade I did was on SMCI, and with this one, I was looking for this to break. As you can see, the bulls bought the dip over there, there, and they're just constantly holding that level. And I was anticipating for this to break, and I posted in the chat. My idea was basically for me to get May contracts, get my foot in the door with these, because I knew I'm more bearish to this stock than anything in the AI sector right now. This is absolutely ridiculous right now. The only reason I think it's up, like I said in the last video, is because of the added buying pressure from S&P 500 inclusion. Like I said, it's got the bearish divergence, and we should get some kind of follow through after the inclusion date's over. So I want to make sure I get a position into that, because I don't know if we're going to start to weaken off into it. And then, like I said, I think we'll waterfall, fill this gap, and potentially this one. But this one, I believe, is going to be filled relatively fast. So I think this is a really solid trade. But yeah, right now, basically what I was looking at today with this trade, I took it off the table too. It was about a 12% win on contracts, like I said, for May, so 2.5 months roughly. But we were right around here at support, and based off my theory that Nvidia should confirm that candle, because I was on volume and it was towards the low, and I saw that, I went over ahead and grabbed an entry here for anti-FOMO, just to make sure I had my foot in the door and I can trade around that. So we flushed, as you can see. We came down here, bounced a little bit, and then we came down. I'm seeing it work around this area, and at the same time, I went out to, I think it was a 30-minute chart, and we got oversold. And I'm knowing that bulls are going to get a bounce. We also have that catalyst this upcoming weekend. We have S&P 500 inclusion, so that's that added buying pressure I'm talking about. So I just took the win down here and exited towards the lows, and obviously we're bouncing now. So I think from here going forward, um, this isn't going to really flush until the S&P 500 inclusion date is over. The same thing with that conference with Nvidia. So what I'm starting to think is that on the daily chart, we're trying to put in daily higher lows. You can see we're still holding the 8 exponential, so there's nothing to be concerned as long as we hold this right here. So this is like a momentum moving average, and as long as they hold this 8 exponential close above it, we're perfectly fine. And like I said, you can see that we bounced decently well, and we could just continue to buy up into that inclusion date. Doesn't mean we have to break this high, but like I said, we have divergence, so um, I'm thinking we'll sell off or weaken off a little, maybe a little bit before, but definitely after. Like I said, fill this gap. So um, I'm looking for a re-entry into a short tomorrow. Like I already made profit on that today, and anything up here, I'm just risking profits basically. De-risk my position by re-entering this a little bit more. Like we're still in a bullish uptrend, so it's nothing to be discarded. But at the same time, like I said, we have bearish divergence on the chart. Our weekly RSI is still at 90. Oh no, sorry, that was at 94. But with today, we dropped that off a little bit. but my target is still this weekly gap. So with 2.5 month out contracts, I believe that's more than enough time for this to fill, and it'll be a lucrative trade even with that much time. So um, still far away from the 20. Still haven't touched the 8 exponential on the weekly. So I think this is definitely achievable. Um, and then if you look on the 5 minute chart, it looks right now like we're curling up. You can see we bounced and then we just started grinding sideways a little bit, not too much down. So this could definitely form inverse head and shoulders, pretty much like the concept, I guess. It's your shoulder, your head, and then kind of forming a shoulder here. So a break of that high there, we should push decently well. Like I said, they still have that meeting in S&P 500 inclusion, so this is going to be a little tricky. I would love for it to come up here. I'm not gonna lie. Give me a good price. I would say, yeah, right around there, around 1150, 1140, 1150. You can see got there, all that price history over there. Sorry, right there. A little bit here, touch there, almost there. So right around 1150 be a great price to short it at. And you could put your stop at the highs. Like I said, they still have price targets for 1300 and 1350. But personally, the way I would play this is I would get my foot in the door. Like, so if this pops up here, I'm going to short it. I'll get my foot in the door again with May contracts to give it plenty of time. We're extended, we have gaps to fill, divergences, and let that contract just play out. So what I'm saying is I would not stop out personally if it goes up to there. I'm risking what I'm willing to lose on this trade. So I would let this ride and then manage it from there. So look for my second entry, and my second entry, hit it with size. Um, I don't think this thing's going to just rally forever. It's gone absolutely parabolic. You can see the monthly chart's still really extended. We're starting to get a wick. So any more selling, and then this is going to be a reversal on the monthly. And my theory is that we're going to consolidate in this sector for weeks/months, which will roll over into the actual market, and we'll finally get consolidation there because that rally has been pretty much unprecedented before. So, um, yeah, go back to Nvidia, which is going to be a lot harder. They have that conference, and that's specific to their company. So you can see in comparison to SMCI, they bought this up right away. That's why I cut it. And I was like, the Bulls, they're not going to let this drop right now. With that news catalyst coming up, they're probably going to push this. And if they do push it to a new high, which I thought was unlikely, it'll have divergence. But right now, you can see they're just pretty much grinding it sideways. They're not really selling off here. So they're sort of forming a base. Um, I'm still looking to short this, though. I'm not looking to play this long. I want an hourly oversold bounce if I'm going to play this long, and that's just for a bounce. If you go out to the daily chart, the reason why I still think even with this we can get more follow through, maybe not tomorrow, but I'm saying in general, um, this volume candle right here, you can see we had high volume. Like I said, we've had one other time that's comparable outside of the earnings, and that's over here. We got one day of follow through to the downside, sideways, and we popped up again, retested that high, and then sold off again. And for this one, that was another, what, 18% down once that hit a high. So I'm anticipating that this is going to consolidate no matter what. Like, I'm not playing the long side. I think you're fighting over scraps at this point. Like, yeah, you can still catch a decent move up there. I think they had a price target upgrade over the weekend for 1200. If that happens, that's a stone cold short to me. Definitely going to have divergence on the daily chart. We still have a weekly gap to fill on here. So this is a really impressive company, though, as far as their earnings and stuff. But if you go back since its lows, like I was trading this down here with options, and this is like a year and a half, and it's gone up from the highs 800%. This is an absolute beast right now. Um, So in my opinion, consolidation is long overdue. Like I said that before. Still extended on a weekly. We still have that candle, and we have all week to confirm that. So we could rally up and then start to sell off, or trade sideways, confirm it next week. Um, the monthly candle's looking bearish, so we have a lot of time yet in that candle to form, but we're far from day at exponential. And same thing with the 20 period moving average. So what I'm sort of thinking going into tomorrow, like I said, is I think we're just going to continue to grind up into this new news catalyst, continue to trade upwards. Um, and what I think I personally am going to do is I'm not going to trade Nvidia. I'm going to look to add puts on SMCI. If we can pop up, I'm definitely going to grab them on there for May and just give it plenty of time to play out. And like I said, that's going to be my anti-FOMO position. So no matter what, I'm going to grab it, and then I'll trade around that. With Nvidia, I would have to see something to indicate that we are going to put in a top because of that conference. And like I said, it's more specific to that company. So who knows what could even happen. It's a coin toss on what we're really going to do from here. I'll tell you what, though, if we break to a new high before that conference, like say Nvidia, let me go out to like an hourly chart or something. Actually, let's do it daily. Right now, we're trying to form a higher low compared to down here, right? So we're still in an daily uptrend. Came up here, pulled back, set a daily higher low right there. Came up, pulled back, trying to find where we're going to set a daily higher low. So if we grind upwards, right, into that catalyst, say Thursday, Friday, and we didn't sell off at all into it, I'm going to take a short. I'll probably go May though to just give myself again more time on that. Because in that case, even if we pop, I'll trade around that again. It'll be more of an anti-FOMO position. And that way I make sure I have my foot in the door for that weekly gap fill. But personally, I think the best one to short is SMCI. And that's just because of the way this is trading right now. I think it's weaker. You can see that in the chart from this morning. It was, this is Nvidia, like I said, V-shaped, and SMCI. You can see a big difference. Dumped, and we made a new low, where Nvidia did not do that. This is definitely weaker, and it's just running off the sector. So I think this is the short to play. Like I said, the S&P 500 inclusion, with that gone, that's less buying pressure, so that's gone. This is a key level, though. We want to see this break. If this breaks, like say we pop up and this breaks, we come up and confirm the daily higher low. So we pulled back, we set this, and we trade upwards. This will become the key level to break, and then a break of that is a break of trend. That's if we don't pop up higher, but I'm not really anticipating too much of more of a push out of this thing, which is why I'm more apt to just grabbing some shorts for a month or 2.5 months out. It definitely moves a lot faster, and because of that, there's more reward to these than Nvidia. And in my opinion, Nvidia is the better company. That's just my biased opinion. So I'd rather short something like this. Like, yeah, they make money, but their net profit margins are nowhere near Nvidia's. And this was just basically a short squeeze initially that pumped it up, and then shorts entered down here to try to play more of the downside, and then they got squoze out over the S&P 500 news. So it's being artificially pumped all around. And I think real price will come settle in. Like I said, the other video, I think I had 400 was where I really want to get it. Upper 400, sorry. Like 470s, right around there. I would probably scale in here at this low. Like if you're long this company, you truly believe it's going to go somewhere over the next 5 years, I'd probably get in around here. But I personally am going to wait until it's around 500 a share. And I believe it could get down there. The S&P 500, I'm looking for eventually a 10% correction there. And I think that's going to weigh everything down. And in my opinion, I think the AI sector is going to be the thing to lead that to the downside. So yeah, I know a lot of retails up here. They're entering up here, and you just have to think about what's going to happen when this thing actually does confirm the divergences and sells off. All these people that are loading the boat and it's jerking them all over the place. They're buying higher and everything. So all these people are buying up here. What's going to happen once we start to sell off? You know what I mean? They're going to be left holding the bag, and I think we're going to be in a longer term downtrend for weeks/months, and I'm going to play that. Like I said, my first target is this at bare minimum, and I think that's definitely going to happen over the next few months, and then fill this gap eventually, and then who knows from there. But I'm not a buyer until it's around $500 a share. I know that, but I usually do not buy unless things are at a really good price. I buy up other tickers as well once we finally get a market correction, but that's for the future whenever that occurs. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on these two tickers. And right now they're the only ones I'm really putting a lot of focus on because I think this is a really good trade and it's going to be pretty lucrative and worthwhile. So I'm putting all my focus here and just disregarding everything else besides watching the actual market. Um, if it pushes up and confirms this higher low on the daily, I'm going to reshort around 1150 and just re-enter my anti-FOMO position. So my first initial buy and my second entry will be one that's more precise if we do happen to push higher. And I'll play that with size, maybe even more aggressive contract wise, whether that's strike or time. And yeah, um, we'll have to see what happens tomorrow. We do have CPI data coming out, so that could impact the markets before we even open. Um, it could completely nullify everything I'm going over right now. So I'm sort of looking at this as well. It's not really, but I almost felt like this is getting wedgy, to be honest. But it really didn't line up with the trend line when I tried to draw it. So it could be as far as like price. Usually when you have a rising wedge, price goes up. And as it gets towards that apex, the volume starts to taper off. You can see that's happening right now. Like even today's volume, it's really low. So um, it sort of feels like it's doing that, which is also a reversal pattern. Um, my opinion, retail is just going to get left holding the bags. All the people entering up here. Once this flushes down, we'll just start the waterfall and fill a bunch of gaps, basically. So we'll have to see what happens tomorrow, and hopefully be able to get a re-entry into this. I'd love to get 1150, but we'll have to see. Also, if you want to join the Discord, it's completely free. It's not always going to remain free, but it probably will remain free for a little bit of a time, maybe a few months. Not really sure. I'm not really pushing it right now, so I'm just posting in here during the day, doing my trades, and then doing what I need to take care of in real life for right now. So um, there will come a time where I'm going to have paid portions of this. As you can see, I'm going to do a 1,000 to 25K challenge on options, and I think that's achievable. I'm going to do a growth account challenge, which I intend on doing by the end of the month, if not early April. And what I'm going to do is put $100 into an account every week and show others with my trades how I intend on growing that and scaling that account. But they're going to be investments, so trades that last weeks, months to years, and sell options against them once you have 100 shares and doing the wheel strategy. If people want to follow, they can. If they agree with my analysis, everything's at your own risk, obviously. But yeah, if you want to join, now's the perfect time to do it because it's brand new. And you get me pretty much one-on-one, ask me some questions while I'm on here anyways, and you get all the information I would throw out as far as my trades, my entries, my exits, my thoughts and thesis going into the day, and take advantage of it now. Until next time, I wish you the best in the markets.